Okay, so we've seen the pictures of how the knife clamps into the body. There's two considerations with that. One, obviously, is making sure that it's centered to the rod as it's grabbed. And the other consideration, hold this guy sideways, you want the bulk of the blade to be roughly parallel to the guide rod. If it's off, or you have a knife that has a curve the whole length of the blade, then the only thing that has to happen is you must keep the blade perpendicular to the stone the whole time, wherever you're working on it. If the blade has a straight section that can be set up dead parallel to the guide arm, then you can set this guy any sweep you want. Or if you establish an angle, say I want a 45-degree scratch pattern sweep, as long as my path is always a 45, it doesn't really matter what else I do. The angle's going to stay constant. If you have something with a broad curve and you keep switching between this and this, obviously the angle might change depending where you are on the stone, but even then it's pretty slight. So on a knife like this with a relatively straight, and then it's got the belly, you can actually work this every different angle you want. The angle to the stone stays the same, so that's real nice, and it stays consistent around the belly too, as long as this point here where I am on the guide rod, the angle on the guide rod stays the same. So you can go as fast as you want, slow as you want, whatever. Regrind stuff. One of the coolest things about this setup, one of the coolest things about this setup is once you have established your grinding angle, you just take this distance. I have a similar bar set up on my belt grinder, so I can actually set the angle I want, do a rough grind on the belt grinder, come over here, maybe elevate it a little bit to account for the curvature of the belt, which isn't a dead flat surface, and then I can just finish with whatever stone I want or whatever else. Or say I want to go from this to an Arkansas stone to finish it, I have the angle. As long as every stone I put under here has this same distance to the surface, my angle stays the same. And another cool thing, I whip this up to do consistent, quick micro bevels. So if I'm working on the belt grinder, I set my angle, I come back over here, the angle's good, I throw this on, this adds about 2 degrees to most knives. If they're really thin, it might add 2.5. If it's a broad blade, it might add a little less, because that increases the distance from here to the edge. Your hypotenuse gets longer, so your angle is going to get more acute. But that's it in a nutshell. On to the serration attachment next.